people.
Join Jael Joseph and Trudy Christian on Woman2Woman every Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we discuss live and in living color on Digicel Channel 57, Facebook, and of course, the champion station, Vibes Radio.
Good morning. Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good. What's up with you?
I'm good. You're purpled out today.
Yes.
Purple day, purple rain.
Yeah. I'm upset I didn't remember to put this on when we were talking about lupus last week. So that would have been the purple. That would have been the purple for lupus awareness on that day. But oh well. Good morning, everybody.
Next time. Good morning. Good morning to hope you guys had a good weekend. Good morning to everyone on Vibes Radio. Oh my God, we almost didn't have a show this morning because both Trudy and I are not in the mood. We're not in the mood, and it is girl talk today. It's girl talk. So let's see how we push through this, right?
Yeah, I mean we'll be good, and I know our listeners. Good morning to you all. You all need to let us know that you're on. Shout us out. Tell us hi. All our listeners on Vibes Radio, on the social media pages. Good morning, Marvlin. Bonjour. Our listeners on Digicel Channel 57. And our listeners in Montserrat also listening to Digicel TV. Good morning. Good morning, Raisa. So our listeners are tuning in. It's Girl Talk Monday, and we want all our listeners to contribute to this discussion this morning. It's going to be interesting.
Yes, we want you to chime in. We need your expertise, and we would just want to remind everyone, and I'll probably remind them when we start, that a lot of what we're going to talk about today are our opinions.
Yeah.
So it's opinionated. So it's not views. Whatever we speak today about necessarily the views of the radio station or even the producers or even it might not be your views. It is our personal opinion, right? So, and I remind folks when we come back again from the break, so nobody will message me in my personal inbox because I will give somebody a fire today. I'm just saying.
Evan, that is a disclaimer, Jael. The views you're about to hear are not necessarily those of the radio station.
I just felt like I needed to say that because I just don't want to see nothing in my inbox later. I've been very diplomatic, and Jael can be petty. Those of you who know me and you follow me on social media, you know I can be petty when I need to be, right? But I've been very professional, and I want to continue to maintain that profesh. So, just say that. How was your weekend, Trudy?
My weekend was good. Weekend was quiet. Well, no, it wasn't that quiet. I had a bridal show that I went to on Friday, and then the rest of the weekend was pretty simple. What?
Bridal shower.
Yeah,
You're getting up for our topic, man, today.
I was gearing up for it from since Friday. That's what you didn't know.
How is life now having a bridal shower with COVID? Like, how did that go about? Was there social distancing?
Well,
Um,
there was a limitation in the number of people. So
you
plans have.
special, Trudy. You made it.
I know, right? I know. In COVID time, when you have to cut down on your numbers and you make it, it's a big deal. It's like I made it on the guest list, right? So, things were put in place. I mean, social distancing, try not to utilize the same um, stuff like the same pens and like you play those little bridal shower games and whatever. So an attempt was made to kind of keep the protocols in place. But of course, in Dominica, people are freeing up a little bit more. Our two active cases that had come from the people that had been repatriated from the cruise ships. These two have been deemed COVID free. So right, yes. So right now we have 0 active cases.
Did they actually have it, or I know they were asymptomatic.
They were asymptomatic, but they were positive, tested positive.
The issue with that though is that I learned like behind the scenes. I get the sipsions, right? They were actually on the cruise ship for 72 days. Right? They were on the cruise ship for 72 days. And the fact that they contracted it being in isolation for even 14 days before they actually went out, that made no sense to me. So I think something, either the virus is doing something that we don't know of. It's kind of strange, because then I also know of people who are like, their spouse got it, they didn't get it, and they didn't get that, right?
Yeah, because the thing with, I mean, we talk about COVID and its high infectious nature, but the thing about viruses, sometimes you don't, like, I mean, it's even true with HIV. I mean, people feel like if somebody's HIV positive and you have intercourse with them, you automatically going to get it. That's the kind of messaging that has gone out to kind of keep people, wary of the virus. But it's like there's a chance that you're going to escape. And that's true, I guess, for COVID as well. There's a chance you're going to escape.
Like, a lot of people have actually escaped it.
Yeah.
But like, I actually spoke to a few people who were on the cruise ship who actually were in the quarantine. A few people. It wasn't just one or two or three. A few people, and the story is the same. Like, they don't understand how these two people even got it. And it's just strange. It's just very, very strange. How the virus, I guess, reacts, or who it infects, or how people get infected.
And the fact that some people are asymptomatic, so that's also what propels, the virus, and without you knowing, because you may have it and you don't have any symptoms. But a good thing though is everybody was tested, everybody that had come in, and they were tested and they were tested again. So their results show that they are free of COVID. So that's the good news.
That's definitely good news. And kudos to the health officials and everybody who I'm still gonna monitor this, because something doesn't seem right. But yeah. Continue to monitor this. I'm on the case. Yeah, but the weekend, like you mentioned, your bridal shower. My aunt turned happy 70 over the weekend, and we did the motorcade, the whole motorcade vibes and stuff, around the block, and people, we came out on the lawn, but we couldn't really stay for long, so it was like a pop in and pop out, and it was bittersweet, because everybody wanted to hug each other, but you were like, giving like food shakes. You know, it was just like it was really hard, you know, being around family that you hadn't seen for quite some time, and you couldn't hug them, you know, like you were just like one of my cousin's girlfriend, she said to me, "We practicing social distancing, huh?" You know, like she's yeah.
Ah, yeah.
It was very difficult. It was very, very
Yeah, I
difficult.
can imagine if family getting together, that might, yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, but you also have to take into consideration, you know, there are some people who have low immune systems. There's some people who are at risk, you know, like the older you are, the more at risk you are, and all of these different things that we've learned. Some of which I don't completely believe, but that's another story. That's another conversation. Yeah, so that was how the weekend
The
was.
weekend is
The
good. All
weekend,
right.
the weekend. Was, oh, also my cousin, one of my cousins, christened his baby on Sunday, and we had like a Zoom.
A Zoom party, a
Yeah,
Zoom christening party. Oh,
it was really neat, you know. Like, I mean, to see how folks are somewhat adjusting um to this new normal. It's interesting. Some folks are still like they still cannot come to terms with it. Like you say, like even in Dominica, you find, you know, people. It's hard to just go about your normal business without doing the things that you did before, because it's not normal for you. You
yeah.
and we just gotta roll with the punches, and we just have to figure things out as we go along, and still listen to the officials, especially the
Yeah,
health officials,
of
who
course.
I feel are giving us the information that we need.
Yes.
I'm talking about my disclaimer. My disclaimer.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
Jael, what about our challenge, our one seed a day initiative? What about your plans?
well, my plant went into plants now, so I have 3 plants.
Nice.
I have a basilic, and
Okay.
I also have parsley.
Nice.
Yeah, so
So you have the basil, you have basilic and parsley. All right.
go on our Facebook page and all you'll see them. Go
Nice.
the woman Facebook page, because I was gonna put it up here today, but I'm like, no, go on the Facebook page, right? And all you will see. So I mean, and I'm gonna be starting. We spoke behind the scenes about another thing that I'm going to be planting.
Right.
That's on a different platform. So you
Yeah.
just you just have to just continue to follow us, and you know you'll see what we're doing in terms of the one seed a day. We're planting, we're watering. How about your plants? How did it?
I mean, I always have to update the listeners. Something is always up with my plans. My plans are special plans. So, first of all, the first thing I want to update the listeners about, and you, JL, the pepper seeds I had in the tissue paper when the viewer on our Woman2Woman show said, "What kind of tissue paper germination you trying there? That is amateur stuff, you know. You need to get some seedlings and some pots and whatever." And then I went down the seedling route and all of that stuff. But now my pepper seeds, all however many of them I had there, all sprouted. And now I have about 30 something little sprouted seeds in a pot. So I'm watching these things over the weekend, like, wait a minute. I don't know if you remember, I said to you once, I suspect grass is growing in the pot. It was no, no, it's the pepper seeds. It's like literally all of them decided to sprout. So I'm going to send a picture for the for the Woman2Woman page to show you all and our listeners how I have about 30 little shoots, little seedling things in one pot. So
Wow.
you
So
know,
now you need to get a bed. Like put them on a you know. You can't kill them, huh?
and you know, I'm not about that transplanting life. So
Girl, you gotta do that. You cannot
I
just
am going to have to die. I mean, that's just how it is.
Trudy, you just brought life and you're gonna kill it.
I tried to figure out, like, I didn't know all of them are going to sprout. Like, all of them.
That sounds like a pregnancy. Like, I didn't know it was going to take. He was supposed to pull out and boom.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. And it's not just a pregnancy, it's like multiple. And, you know.
So 2 plants?
Yeah, so I'll show you all the picture, but this is amazing. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Oh, you have to transplant them, put them in another surrogate. You need to transplant. All
I wanted was 1, maybe 2 pepper plants, not all those pepper plants.
But you see, Ollie does ask for things, and when God gives it to Ollie does not want to take it. You need to now burst open, get an old fridge or get something and put some dirt in there, and girl, you might just be in the thing for peppers.
That sounds complicated. Anyway, good morning to our listeners. Catherine is saying hi. Good morning to my friend Karine, who is laughing and saying that I'm going to abort the peppers. Yeah, some of them are going to be aborted. I mean, I'm sorry.
I was not going to be the one to say. I know that somebody that will say you are going to abort.
No, I'm sorry. It's too much.
Maybe there's somebody out there who wants some pepper plants. There may be a surrogate out there. Go and check on Trudy. Send her a message. Say, hey, Trudy, you have a green thumb, right? And
yeah,
you need to share those. You can't abort. You can't abort.
Right now, my thumb is doing too much. I'm like, hey, chill out. Chill.
We need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking again. I mentioned before that we're going to be talking about something. It's Girl Talk. So we're going to be sharing our opinions and stuff on a conversation. You're just going to have to wait, Wait. When we come back, we'll tell you what we're talking about. So stay tuned. We're coming back. We're taking a break. We pay some bills. That's how we get paid. So we need to, speaking about how we get paid, if you need to advertise, hook us up, let us know. Hello, Woman2Woman show. You're listening, you're watching. Yeah, we need to pay some bills. When we come, we're going to be talking more on the Woman2Woman show. Stay tuned.
Do you have a question for us on Woman2Woman? Send in your questions on 767-245-0514 or email us at w2w.vibesradio@gmail.com. Tune in Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to the Champion Station with Jael Joseph and Trudy Christian, only on Vibes Radio.
Didn't you know the only place to go, Vibes Radio? Silk, say so.
We wake you up to take you up, so stay up like a champion.
Huggies Active Sec disposable diapers provides the best absorption results. Its Velcro Dura technology provides a long-lasting fit for up to 12 hours of absorption and are available in sizes small to XXL at an affordable price. Huggies Active Sec, aiding your baby to explore the world. Available at all supermarkets and shops island-wide and distributed by Springfield Trading Limited.
Sispan gagne infection virale yo. Rete en sécurité et en santé et puis protéger communauté là pendant ou tousser ak éternuer dans koudou ou soit yon tisi et puis laver main ou avec savon à l'eau. Laver main ou souvent et puis très bien pendant au moins 20 secondes. Sorti seulement là où gen besoin. Joindre information qui sorti dans bon source. Nous tous nous dans même situation. En suspend gagne coronavirus là. Ça, c'est un annonce service public qui sorti dans la Croix-Rouge Dominique et Organisation internationale pour migration.
Woman, I am woman, I am woman, yeah. Hey, this is your girl, Mikkel Henderson, and you're listening to Woman2Woman on Vibes Radio, the one and only. Keep it locked.
We're back on your radio. What are you smiling for?
Well, there's a petition out for those pepper plants. Everybody, people trying to save those plants by all means. Catherine said to send them for her. She has land. Somebody is telling me make a backyard garden. I mean, everybody trying to lobby for the life of pepper plants. That's amazing.
Yo, you cannot abort those plans. You can't do that. You cannot do that, Trudy. I will not stand with you and do that. No. Something needs to be done. Trudy, what are we talking about today?
This morning, we are talking about the big M, and it's not money, and it's not men. It's marriage.
It does include them though.
Yeah. They included. So we're talking about marriage this morning. We're talking about people's views on marriage. We're talking about society and how society approaches marriage, pressures that are associated with marriage. And we're going to talk from our opinion. Jael already put out.
You cannot abort those plans. Go ahead. Sorry,
Jael
work the system.
Oh.
While we're doing the intro, you know how that goes, you know?
Jael already put out her disclaimer. We're both going to give our views, and then of course we want the listeners to talk to us and give us their views. So
definitely, we want to remind you guys that this is our opinion. Whatever we're about to discuss is our opinion. It's not necessarily the views of the radio station or even of you who are listening. You may disagree with us.
Right.
You may agree with us. You may want to fight us, but don't come in my inbox. Just don't come in my inbox, because if you come for me, I'm gonna come for you. Right? So
let's talk. So Jael, we're starting with you. Like when I'm in the classroom and I'm like, okay, you're going first.
Yes. Well, I guess you're interviewing me, right, Trudy?
Yes, Jael. I'm interviewing you about the big M. The big M. So Jael, my question to you. What is your personal view on marriage and its necessity? That's my question to you, my first question.
I like how she said her first question.
Follow up.
I have never been married.
Right.
Not that I have not been asked. I have never been married. My personal views on marriage is that it is a business transaction. I look at it as a business transaction, an extension of slavery. A few things. I see it as a few things. It's not necessarily based off of what I've seen people experience, because I have people who are in marriage. I have friends, family who are in marriages that are really good. I mean, as far as I can see, right? Because what you see is not always what happens when the doors close, right? But I am one of those folks that believe that it is a business transaction, whether it is a financial transaction or a transaction to have kids or a transaction for investments or a transaction for a house or a transaction for a better bank account. I see it as a transaction.
Okay, so the follow-up now is, so with that view of yours that it's a transaction, have you had any pushback from other people? So family, friends, co-workers, who essentially try to change your mind about that opinion.
Oh yes, oh yes.
How do you deal with it normally?
I've had people say to me that it is a beautiful thing. That's like that. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's a union between two people. And my thing is that I do not feel that. I look at marriage as one way that the government gets into your business, because now you are not all operating as one, you're operating as two. And then you always have to consider the second person in every transaction that you do as it relates to them or to the unit, to the union, right? Mm-hmm. Now, people have tried to convince me that that is not the case. And I'm not saying I will never get married. I'm not saying that, because I might want to enter into a business transaction as well, right? I'm not saying that I will never get married. What I'm saying is that I feel that we have a lot of people force people to doing things that you don't necessarily have to do. Like, we had a discussion about it, one person said, I was the only person that he wanted to be with, and he wanted to have kids and we wanted to build our lives together. But you could have done that without getting married. You didn't have to get married. I look at it, a lot of folks spend a lot of money, pay a lot, hundreds and thousands of dollars, and they have these lavish parties. I call it a party. It's a ceremony, they call it, but they have a lavish party.
A wedding.
That they call a wedding. And people are sharing the videos, people are sharing the live. So they have this lavish party that costs a lot of money, and then they come into this union with this other individual, and then they have all this debt that they have to pay back even before they start what they consider their married life. And then my friend is saying I have such a marriage phobia. and another thing is that they look at it as a way for them to come together, and she says it's a delish institution. It's a delicious institution. But I personally just tell people like that everybody has their choice and their decision. Nobody's gonna force me to do anything that I don't really see is necessary. And if I like my friend Jay-Z says, my friend, my friend, I listen to Jay-Z a lot, so he's my friend. He gets into my life and stuff. Right. Like he said, I whenever it is necessary, I will let the necessary occur. Yep.
So Jael, okay, so my other question though, so from how you describe marriage and your unconventional, I would maybe call it unconventional view of what it represents, is that how you always felt, or did you go through the period of time, like people say little girls always have wedding dreams? It's one of the things that is pushed on young girls, the whole ideal of getting married and wearing that white dress and having this wedding. Was that ever something in your childhood that you remember ever being put on you? No.
Right. My parents were married until they passed away. They had a lot of ups and downs in their married life. I mean, I bore witness to a few of their ups and downs. Mm-hmm. It was not necessarily the best union. It wasn't necessarily the worst either, but because I've known people to have worse situations and stuff. But I always felt like my mother was stuck in it somewhat. And I'm like, I don't want to be stuck in nothing. Like, I don't want to be doing it for the kids, and I don't want to be doing it for the this, and I don't want to be doing it for the nothing. Like, if I'm gonna do this, like, we know what we're putting in there, we know what the takeaway is, and that's it. It's a transaction. You know, I don't want to be stuck. And in as much as she never said she was stuck, right? As she never once said she was stuck, or never made us feel like we were a problem, or it was never about that. It was just me, from my perspective, analyzing the situation of the dynamics between them, the dynamics in the home, the dynamics with all of us and stuff. And I was just like, in as much as they loved each other, it was obvious that they loved each other. My father passed away 9 months after my mother passed away, wow. Right? And but still, it's like I didn't feel like I don't feel like it's something that I necessarily would care to pursue. Okay. I never saw myself in a dress. I never saw myself walking down the aisle. Mm-hmm. I never even saw myself having kids, and I had kids, right?
So who knows,
right? So you never know, which is why I say it is a transaction. Like, whenever you feel like it's the time that it can happen, that it happens for you, it happens for you. And I don't feel like anybody should be forced or pressure anyone. I know, like, where religion is concerned, they tell you about you living in sin. People make you feel like, you know, oh, you're fornicating, you're living with the man. What do people say? Why would he buy the cow when he can milk the cow whenever? Yeah, you know, right. Different analogies and stuff to express. I feel like if two people love each other and they want to live together with each other, and even going back, like, in my interpretation of what the Bible had, I don't recall anywhere in the Bible where there was a lavish marriage and there was all of this thing going on. You would hear this person met that person, and all of a sudden God put them together, and then they're having babies.
There was the wedding in Cana. Jesus turned water into wine. How you missed that in the Bible?
But they never said specifically who was getting married.
I don't know. It's somebody. Some people are getting married.
I'm sure it was actually a wedding, and it was not a lavish party that was thrown. And why was it mentioned once?
Jael, I'm going to send you myself. I'm not a Bible. I really have never gone to Bible study in my life, but I'm sending you to Bible study because I remember the wedding in Cana.
What in a whole book of 66 chapters, 66 books. How many 66? Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? A whole book, and there's only one time there is a wedding. And the purpose of it was not to show that there was a wedding. The purpose of that was to show that Jesus turned water.
First miracle, yeah.
Not even relevant. The entire ceremony was not even relevant.
Yeah. So, you know what? Just like I said to y'all, and I told them this last night, we're in a group chat with the production team and the host, and I said, you know what, I'm done with you all. So yeah, right now, I've asked you everything that I had lined up for you on this marriage thing. And I'm done with you. And I'm sending you to Bible. I'm definitely sending you to Bible study for that wedding in Cana.
Just for that one, eh?
Just for that one.
What are your views on marriage?
So you see, I essentially feel like marriage is this formality of a commitment. Like it's a way that people formalize their commitment to each other. I don't see it as a business transaction per se. There are aspects of business in it. I mean, the finances have to come together. There's so much that comes into play when you get married. The legality of it ties the finances together, that's true. Ties assets together, that's true. But I see it though as the ultimate expression of commitment. To me, it's almost like, if you get in a job, you get this big job, you expect to sign a contract. And the contract will kind of detail the expectations of the job, or the expectations, or what you expect to get from being in that job. And to me, that's what the marriage is. It's like you make this commitment, it's legal, you have your marriage license and everything, and there's certain rules and expectations that come along with the legality. So for instance, I am a very avid viewer of paternity court, which is which has turned out to be my greatest show during quarantine time. And one of the things that strikes me is like anytime a child is born within a marriage, the husband, for instance, is automatically, that's in the US. I really don't know what are the laws locally, but the husband automatically goes on that birth certificate as the legal father, even if the husband might be there questioning, whether or not that child is really his. But there is
even that legal document is still not, it's still a koshani. Like it's still like you just telling me it is really a koshani, because people could still do whatever they
Yes, of course. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same way. I mean, you have laws and people break laws all the time, or you have expectations and people don't live up to them all the time. But I just think it's powerful in wanting to actually make that thing formal. Now, that doesn't mean I feel like everybody in all relationships should get married. I am also a firm believer of it is better to wait long than to marry wrong. This is a thing that is said. My belief is not that, you, as soon as you get into some sort of relationship, you have to then start pressuring the person is a maye, particularly, and I think that's something that's more prominent with us women. You get to a certain age and then you start thinking, everybody else married and this and this.
Leave me in the bus stop.
Yes. So women might start feeling like
that's our inside joke. Like my sisters and I, like when we hear people getting married, like, so-and-so getting married, Papa. And I just say, boy, Ari, the boss leave us in the bus stop, because my younger sister is married, right?
Okay.
And the two middle ones are not.
Right.
Right. My older sister is married, and my younger sister is married, and the two middle ones are not. And my younger sister and husband, they have such a great relationship, and in as much as she chose to get married, I didn't feel it was necessary. I felt she could have still be in a great relationship with him, and it didn't have to have the whole, and it was so stressful, like going through, I mean, granted, the end result, the ceremony was beautiful and all of that. And I love to see weddings, right? I feel like everybody like a party.
But there's a difference between the wedding and the marriage, though. I mean, the wedding is and you don't even need to have a wedding. You could go to court and get married, and escape the whole expense and the ceremony. So that's not a problem.
It's a good time to get married too. Now, you don't have to get people. There's only 2 people. It's a great time to get married. For those of you who'd like to get married, it's a great time.
Yeah, so I mean, so we have to differentiate between the wedding and the marriage. I mean, you may feel like for instance, I don't necessarily feel the wedding, the big hoopla and the big, vibes is necessary. But I do feel that in certain relationships, at certain levels of commitment, a marriage is fine. I mean, I have no issues with people getting married. As I said, it's just that I don't think people should try to push the issue because they feel that there's a certain time frame in which it should happen. So
do you feel, Trudy, that there is a level of imbalance when people are married? Because I'll tell you where I'm going with that, or where I'm leading to with that, or where I want you to zone in on. The woman comes in probably with nothing, and the man is financially, he's got to that stage in his life where he has whatever he needs to take care of him and even somebody else. And then they come together. What are your views in terms of like having a prenup, in terms of, in as much as we love each other, does everything now become ours? I worked all my life for what I had to get. You, whatever your circumstance is, you came into this with nothing. Now we must now have 50-50 to all of what I own. Or what is your take on that?
So, and you mentioned the man coming in. That is like the traditional or the maybe old time way of it happening, but now it can happen the opposite way. It happens the opposite way a lot, where the woman might be coming in with all the assets and the man doesn't have any. And I feel the prenup thing is definitely something that should be engaged in those type of situations. Why? Because it kind of demarcates clearly, that the marriage is not for just gaining financial finances from the partner that is maybe more well off. So it kind of gives a clear line. Like what I said before, it's this contract that you're getting into. There are expectations and they have to be clearly laid out. So that's where the prenup, like if for some reason, Jael, I meet a super rich man and the super rich man says, let's get married, and he wants me to sign a prenup, I would not have an issue with it, because I don't necessarily feel like the act of marriage is for bettering finances. You see it as a business arrangement, but I don't see it as that being the main reason for it.
So why exactly you feel like you need to shout on the top of the world that you're getting married to this super rich man and you could just live with the man and be okay?
Because there are certain things that could happen that being the person's spouse would allow me to automate. For instance, if this person got into a terrible accident and some major decision has to be made about their medical care, as the mother could be dead.
What happened to his family?
Could be dead. So as the legal spouse, at least you have some say. I think that is what it's like. That's why I said the relationship has to be at a level where the commitment requires that kind of formality. If it's a little fly-by-night thing, and I mean you don't require, you're not thinking about those things, then to me, okay, fine. But there are some benefits to having that legal stance. I know in America they maybe talk about taxes and claiming people on their taxes and that type of stuff.
Again, it's transactional. Like no matter, like all of what although you've said to me, yes, what if something happens? It's a transaction. It takes on the look of a transaction, because here you are thinking, okay, we're getting married because if something happens to you, I can take that decision. I can make that decision for you.
So
they could also have a will that tells you exactly what decision they want taken. They don't need you to have an input in that, right?
Not a will per se, but like they could have had a do not resuscitate kind of clause somewhere in their medical records or whatever. That's true. But so I agree with you from the start that there's a transaction aspect, but my view is that's not all there is. I also feel like formalizing the commitment is like a ultimate expression of the commitment.
We want to get your views. We want to get your views, guys. And I see you guys are commenting and you guys are sharing. So someone is saying marriage is not for everyone. It's not one size fits all. Someone else is saying Miriam Joseph would marry Carmen. Well, I wasn't there in those days. And like I was saying, you're going back to the whole Bible thing. There was, like Trudy was saying, and if there's a pastor on there, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I encourage you to correct me wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will. Trudy spoke about when Jesus turned water into wine, that wedding that was happening and whatever. And to me, again, that still was not the emphasis that was placed on the entire scripture or that verse of scripture. It was more along the lines of Jesus turning water into wine and showing that he could perform miracles, right? It wasn't even the miracle of marriage. Right? And even in the Old Testament, there was very little reference to marriage, right? Yet the church has placed a lot of emphasis on ensuring that people don't live in quote unquote sin, and they come together. There's also the shame that families have, because they're like, oh, so long you living in house with the man, you can't get married, or you can't get, so families tend to shame their kids into. And I remember, my mother having like a conversation with Jovian and saying to him, make sure you get married, make sure you don't live in sin and whatever. And she was like, I remember when I told her we were moving in together, she's like, I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of that. And I said to her, well, I do not window shop. I try and make sure it fits. And if the clothes fit, I might consider wearing it for the rest of my life. So that's what I said to her, and I mean, everybody has their different views. We're getting some people. So Francie is saying maturity brings a different version of marriage. As you get older, marriage becomes less. I guess probably that's what it is for me. Like it's so much less, like it's not a factor to me. And unless I felt like I remember saying something, to my partner, and I know he kind of probably felt a way about it, because he has a different opinion on marriage than I do. And like just bringing up the entire transactional aspect of it, and saying, hey, when you're ready to move to Canada, we could do this thing, pop in like few months, you'll get your stuff, because we are committed, it's obvious. However, I just never saw it as necessary to do this, because we still share everything, we still do everything together, we don't make decisions without each other, so what exactly is missing?
So, Jael, I mean, and what you mentioned something about your mom and what she said. People operate on different belief systems. I mean, so people whose belief is ingrained into the whole, and you mentioned it very well, the religion aspect of it and the necessity of it for religious reasons. Marriage, of course, being a sacrament, and in a lot of churches viewed as one of the establishments of faith. You would have that focus on marriage if that was your belief, if that is the belief system that governs what it is that you're doing. So different people, I mean, so the listener who mentioned maturity, I have seen a lot of people who are sufficiently mature, but because of the pressure of the church, marriage is increasingly important the more mature they get, because the belief system they operate in within disallows them from pursuing certain things unless they're married. I mean, if they have children, it would be frowned upon. If they, Jael, as you mentioned, if they go into
you have children out of wedlock. Like what is that?
So the belief system is very
automatically is a bastard. Like I'm like, tell somebody try and call my children a bastard, and you know what I mean.
So it really depends. And I've seen a lot of people based on, and that's why this conversation is there's so much into this in this conversation. It's a lot of nuances, because people have so many different beliefs around marriage that there is societal pressure on people who don't share the same beliefs as maybe the majority group. That's why I started off by asking you if you had gotten pressure from family and friends and co-workers about your view, because so many people have, an alternate view. And I feel too that it is the societal pressure that kind of pushes a lot of people into certain marriages and not a true
well, a lot of people do it based on where they live, right? Because, like, for example, you live in Dominica, and if you're married to somebody and there was no prenup per se, you'd automatically inherit inherit a 50-50 part at whatever the person has. So you didn't sign a document saying that I come here barefoot with nothing, and I'm gonna leave barefoot with nothing if this doesn't work out. You come in and whatever is there is split 50-50. In some countries that may not be the case, right? In some countries you actually, like for example, in Canada, you don't even have to be married for it to be considered a marriage. Once you've been living with somebody for more than 2 years, it's considered common law, which is deemed marriage, which is deemed a marriage. So it will operate just like that legal document that you just signed, that you did. So again, I see it so much as like a show. Like, why in one country you can do it, you can be with somebody, live with somebody, have the same benefits of being married in the marriage, and the other one costs you so much more money. like which one really benefited me? At the end of the day. So Raisa is saying, yes, there can be a lot of pressure for one to get married in Dominica. Many have tried with me, but I move according to my timeline.
Yes.
I'm going to go to the Facebook page.
Right.
Some folks are saying, Catherine is saying marriage is an honorable thing. It's a vocation, but not always called to life. Jamazin is saying marriage can be expensive, but divorce is far worse.
Wow.
Divorce.
We didn't talk about divorce though.
That is a whole hour conversation.
Yes, because that's something I really wanted to mention, that whereas I do think there is legitimacy in wanting to get married and to being married, I also think it's pretty legitimate in my mind if it ain't working out and you've tried what you've needed to try, you've done all you've needed to do, and it's not working out and you're miserable, just call it quits. Epi, that's it. I don't have this belief.
I
don't have the belief that you should suffer infinitely, in life. Like you should just be suffering and, maintaining something just because you feel that what is right, when you could try to get out and maybe have a happier life. So I don't have any kind of, thing about divorce being such a terrible thing. Like I've had friends tell me it would be the worst thing ever to divorce. And I don't see it that way. I don't see a divorce as being like the end of your life, basically.
Church will disagree with you.
Yes, they would.
They would tell you that if you get a divorce, you cannot remarry. You're not allowed to remarry once you're.
The same thing you spoke about Canada and other countries. It's different churches, yeah, by the way. The Catholic Church might say that, but there is remarriage in other churches of divorcees.
So it's like everybody tweaks it.
Yeah.
Based on what they think is their interpretation of whatever it is. So everybody do what you want. Like, why do you need to, and it all boils down to why do you need somebody to tell you that you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody? Why other people have to get involved in it? Like, I find this crazy that you would feel the need that you have to do something because somebody else tells you to. Like, I cannot imagine that somebody would actually listen to, sorry to say, like a pastor or a priest or to them being like telling them, hey, you need to do this because you're living in sin, right? I know a specific person that is somebody that I consider, somebody that I know very well, who they were in a union with someone for almost 20 years. They lived with the person, lived, loved, like I knew them as a couple. And for all these 20 years, I thought they were actually married.
Right.
When they finally decided to get married, it probably didn't even last 2 years. And I'm thinking to myself, 20 years all together and 2 years all married, and look at that.
Yeah, those stories too. I think for that, we would really need to get the opinion. Both of us are unmarried. We would need to get the opinion of some people who have been married. Because what I've understood is that some people think that a marriage or a married relationship should be like a 360, a 180 turn away from a relationship that they had before. So they start to do things differently because they figure we married now. So I not taking this, I not take all what they were maybe taking before they were married or accepting. After the ceremony, it becomes a no. And then that confuses people and confuses the partner. All the time I was leaving my shoes in the drawing room, all of a sudden, I mean, you find I too untidy to be your husband. And then it starts bringing problems. So I think it's people's mindset. Like after we get married, we should change our behavior. And that is why I think some people don't survive after having, like you said, 20 years together and then 2 years married and call it quits, So.
You mentioned the fears that comes with everything, like the fear of you now married to this person and now you have somebody you have to be quote unquote responsible for, because men go through those fears too,
Yeah.
Now I have to be responsible for you, because in some cases, I mean, like, I personally believe that this whole marriage thing was somewhat institutionalized because there wanted to be some level of control over women. There were, I mean, you see back in the 18th century, women fighting for property rights, including the right for suffrage. But when women were able to purchase property, because in those days, if you got married to a man, the man would automatically take your inheritance, became his. So whatever that was yours now became his. Whatever was his remained as his. So you had no right. Right? As a woman, you had absolutely no right to anything, right? And I go way back then because I want to say, hey, like this was something that was forced on us somewhat in order for men to gain status. Then, yes, we fought it and we're able now to live a little bit more on an equal playing field where we can demand equal rights within a union if there are things put on it, because you still have to make sure that it's written, because he's not just saying that and then there's the infidelity aspect of it. There's all of those different aspects will come up, and all of that is just so complicated. Like I'm talking about it and I feel like I'm getting wrinkles. And
oh my God. Definite marriage phobia, Jael. Jael, we have some listeners who are giving us their views. So Francilla is saying in Dominica, you go straight to hell if you get a divorce. So many people stay in marriages through abuses, cheating. It's so ridiculous. And yeah, I see that too. Although I do feel like right now people are becoming a little bit more liberated in terms of that divorce thing. But there is this, this kind of stigma against divorce in Dominica. That is true. And somebody is saying, Sabinia is saying, right, Trudy, they think the fact that they are now married, things need to suddenly change into an unrealistic ideal. And bam, 10 years down the drain. So she's talking about the long-term relationship. Yeah, that once you get married, it ends up, just going down the drain. So quite a few people. Oh, and Catherine is saying, sometimes we try to change people after the marriage, but a leper cannot change its skin overnight. Try putting down your feet before the marriage and not after. I agree with that 100%.
So are you now suggesting that it's how do you truly get to know somebody if you have not lived with them?
I have no problem with people living with each other before they get married. As you said something about window shopping, and I agree. That is something I agree with you on. You have to check it out. You have to, test drive.
What if you don't like? Yes, you have to compromise on. But what if you really like? The church, they call it courting. So we've been courting for 5 years, right? Because in their minds, courting means you're not having sex.
Right.
Meanwhile, you have to shot every single chance you can get. Anywho, because they're not there with you 24/7. They cannot determine what you do when you're doing what you're doing. You go about your merry way and you decide that, hey, we want to get married because we're pressured into it. We want to do this, and then next thing you know, it's not something that you want to do because you realize that he have long toenails and you and just throwing things out there. He always scratching you in the bed with his long toenails, or he snores loudly.
Mhm.
Things
And
you
it might be something like, you didn't know, or you didn't notice how selfish the person was until you actually had to share a space, with the person. So those things do come up. That is so true. Jael, as usual, look at us. Out of time.
the time is gone.
Out of time. But I think we open up the door to so many other discussions, because people were talking here about cheating and about putting your foot down before marriage. This whole aspect of relationships, that's a whole other topic. And what about now gay marriage is also something that's at the forefront. So we're talking about traditional marriage, but the whole definition of marriage is opening up even wider. So we could talk about this for a long time, but our time is up.
And I feel like, Mema has something to say.
Oh, yeah.
Mema's discussion. Ladies, I've been married for almost 20 years, and it's the best thing I've done in my life. There are many wonderful benefits to being married. One of the greatest I enjoy is the lifelong partnership commitment and the ability to lean on each other as we journey through life. Since there are so many challenges that marriages face, I think the key is to find the partner that is right for you. And I think, and in all of that, you didn't have to get married.
All of that, I love.
None of it says I could have only done this if I was married.
And after all of this,
greatest commitment, a lifelong partnership, you can have that. Ability to lean on each other, you can have that, and it does not require a big.
Yeah, but remember, I just want to let you know, also the right partner for you. I think that's the most critical thing you said in your comment. And whether it is within a marriage or just a committed relationship, ladies,
right.
That's the takeaway. The partner being not right for your parents, not right for
church,
society and the church, or not right for the church, but right for you. Yes.
That's it. It's our time, guys. Yes. Tomorrow, join us. Another exciting discussion. We have a guest coming in tomorrow. Yes. So we want to encourage you guys, if you have not shared the live, share it now.
I forgot to tell you all that, but make sure you share this video even after we're off. And tomorrow, as soon as we come on, you all are sharing the live right away.
Share it right away, right? Make sure you join us tomorrow. And if you've not followed us on Facebook, you could go ahead and click on the Woman2Woman page, like our page, follow, share with your friends and family. Let them know that, hey, we're having great discussions here on Woman2Woman.
Same place.
Same time, same place. Thanks, guys, for those of you who tuned in on radio, on Digicel 57, that's in Montserrat as well as in Dominica. Mm-hmm. Those of you who tuned in on our social media platforms, thank you very much. Have a good
day.
Bye.
Do you have a question for us on Woman2Woman? Send in your questions on 767-245-0514 or email us at w2w.vibesradio@gmail.com. Tune in Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to the Champion Station with Jael Joseph and Trudy Christian, only on Vibes Radio.
Didn't you know the only place to go